أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كما أرسلنا فيكم رسولا منكم يتلو عليكم آياتنا ويزكيكم ويعلمكم الكتاب والحكمة ويعلمكم ما لم تكونوا تعلمون فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. Sadaqallahul Azim. Last week we started discussing and we also explained the ma'na, the meaning of tazkiyah. What does tazkiyah mean? And that we hear the word or the term tazkiyah being used, and it's also many times we hear the term tasawwuf, etc. these being used, and we explained the reality of these things. Inshallah we'll continue and move on to the next وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to teach us al-kitab, al-kitab referring to the Quran al-Kareem, wal-hikmah, the sunnah, the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَيُعَلِّمُكُم مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. وَيُعَلِّمُكُم, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to teach us مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ, what we knew not, or what you knew not, addressing the rest of the ummah, rest of the people. And with this we also mentioned last week that it's not only things that we did not know, or we as people did not know, but also things which we could not have known. So when we discuss Islamic epistemology, meaning where does our, what are the asbab, what are the means of our attaining knowledge, then we discuss three means. We discuss three means, three asbab of ilm, of how to attain knowledge. So the very first sabab, the very first means of knowledge, of ilm, is our five senses. The five senses that we have been given, these faculties which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. So a person looks at another and they can tell this is a male. He's black, he's white, he's brown, what's the color of his hair, etc. All of this a person, through, for one example being the eye, the sight, a person can tell and attain a certain amount of knowledge. The second sabab, the second type, or the second means of how a person can attain knowledge through ilm, or attain ilm, is through his aql, is through the intellect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. So we look at a person, and through your eyes, through your eyesight, which is one of the five senses, a person can see what race this person is, what color this person is, and a person through his intellect can say and can understand this, that this person didn't come out of nowhere, right? This person must have parents, either they're alive or they've passed away, but he didn't come out of nowhere. Rather, he had parents, but he never saw the parents of this person, right? He never felt them, he never touched them, that he didn't use his five senses. What told him this? His intellect, his aql told him that human beings come into this world in a natural process. Obviously, this human being is like any other, so his aql told him this. So these are two examples of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us these senses, and we use them in every day-to-day life. Now the question comes that this person, he looks in a certain manner, this is his height, this is his color. We've established that he has parents also, a person's intellect tells him this. The next question is, what should this person be doing in this world? What is expected out of him? Why is he in this world? People do come in through a natural process, they look in a certain manner, but what's expected out of this person? How long will this person perhaps live for? After that, what happens to this person? All these questions, the answer to these, a person's five senses will fail him. You cannot answer that. Your intellect also fails. Why? Because there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of theories of why a person is in the world and how they come and what is expected, etc. The very fact that there are thousands and hundreds of thousands, even among scientists, tells you that obviously the rest of them must be wrong. So that over here, where a person's intellect comes to an end, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends rusul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends messengers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends his people, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends wahi and revelation to them, they reveal to us these things. That what we call the ghaib, or the unseen, that what will happen once a person passes away, what is expected out of a person in this world, what things will make a person's creator happy, what things will make the creator displeased with the person, what will lead a person into paradise, what will lead a person to eternal bliss, or if a person does not follow those things, what will lead to a person to eternal failure. For these questions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يُعَلِّمُكُم مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ, the things which you did not know, Humanity would not, and humanity did not know, humanity would not have known. Only because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent anbiya and messengers from the beginning. That's why we have this idea that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has Jannah, Jahannam, etc. stored for us in the Akhirah. So once a person understands this as a ni'mah, when we understand it in this light, what is revelation? What is Sharia now? It's a ni'mah. It's a blessing. It's no longer a burden. Right? For many times, because we don't understand it in this light, to us, the salah becomes a burden. And we have to do this. We cannot do this. Why? Why are there so many restrictions? It's such a burden, right? Because we don't understand that this in itself, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent it for our success. That in this there is good for us in this world. And this is how a person will eventually attain eternal bliss. So in this, when a person understands it in this light, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us and has given us through the Rusul, the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ilm of what we did not know, what we could not have known, then what is expected out of a person? فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. They do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the next ayah. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Verse number 152. فَاذْكُرُونِي. So be ever in remembrance of me. What is the benefit? What is the blessing, or what is the thawab? What's the reward for this? The greatest, many ahadith we have read on dhikr. If a person recites a certain dhikr, then a person gets this. Very famous ahadith that we know about the importance of dhikr and the rewards which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for a person who is a dhakir. But the greatest reward of dhikr, ulama mention, is what is in the Quran Kareem, in this ayah. فَاذْكُرُونِي. They remember me. What will you get? أَذْكُرْكُمْ. I will remember you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remembering a person, that is the greatest reward that a person can get. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. Over here, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Famous tabi'i Sa'id ibn Musayyib rahimahullah, he says that مَنْ لَمْ يُطِعِ اللَّهِ then فَلَمْ يَذْكُرِ اللَّهِ مَنْ لَمْ يُطِعِ اللَّهِ فَلَمْ يَذْكُرِ اللَّهِ وَإِنْ كَثُرَتْ صَلَاتُهُ وَتَسْبِيحُهُ. He makes a very unique and very good, important point. And that is that if a person, مَنْ لَمْ يُطِعِ اللَّهِ, whoever does not obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then in reality, فَلَمْ يَذْكُرِ اللَّهِ, then in reality you didn't do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? When it comes time where you're supposed to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the salah time has come, adhan has been called out, it is, what's the command? To come to salah. A person doesn't answer that salah, a person doesn't answer that call, this is just an example, then that person in reality hasn't remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِن كَثُرَتْ صَلَاتُهُ وَتَسْبِيحُهُ. Even though his other salawat and his tasbih may be plentiful. But when it comes time to obey the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever it may be, each person will be faced with a different command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a different prohibition. People will be in different circumstances. So at that moment, a person obeying the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is practical dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means you really remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we're not saying that a person shouldn't do tasbih. You can use the tasbih and remind yourself, etc. But that's more like a training. That tasbih we do, subhanallah, 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 alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. All of this is what? This is the training that a person does. The main is when a person comes onto the, what we say, maidan. When a person comes to the field. This is where a person has to perform. So now we're over here, a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very difficult for a person to get up, for example, at a certain time. Yet they get up for Salatul Fajr. It's very cold, but a person performs wudu. A person is attracted to someone and they desist and they stay away from that. That is really called the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. Make and show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاشْكُرُوا لِي. Do my shukr, show gratitude towards me. وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. Do not be those that do not show their gratitude. The same word kufr. For kufr means not to show gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So the same word which we use for disbelief, the same exact word is used for not showing gratitude and thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even in this, one is a person says, Ash-shukru lillah, walhamdulillah. That is fine, that's acceptable, inshallah a person will be rewarded for it. But again, practical shukr is what? That a person practices upon the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the shukr of a person's hands is that a person does good deeds with his hands. A person stays away from the sins of the hands. Shukr of having the tongue that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given is to recite the Quran, for example, and to stay away from saying abhorred things, wrong things. Like that, each limb a person has, each ni'mah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, The true shukr of that is to use it in the correct avenue and not to misuse those faculties which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the true understanding of deen.